Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. This time, I am going to be starting maybe a brand new mini-series. It might honestly just be a one-off video. Genuinely, it's just a video that I want to make, and it's a topic that I want to discuss with you guys, because I'm going to go over what I believe is the most bizarre censorship that we have ever seen in the English dub in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! We understand, as fans of the show and fans of the franchise, that the English dub has censored a lot of different things. They've censored storylines, they've, changed storylines, they've cut out scenes entirely. And whether you're referring to Duel Monsters, GX, 5D, Zexal, Arc 5 Reigns, it really doesn't matter. This is something that we're all used to as Yu-Gi-Oh fans. We understand it happens. The English dub has a little bit of a different target audience than the original subbed version, and while I know it annoys a lot of people, it just is what it is. But this was a censorship, going back to the original Duel Monsters, that I really have no idea why it happened. Right, there's a lot of censorships in Yu-Gi-Oh! That we understand why they happen. We understand why guns were removed. Even though maybe we don't necessarily agree with them, we can understand why guns and violent objects like that were removed and replaced with finger guns. Obviously, it's the big meme. We can understand why the concept of death was removed and replaced with a shadow realm, even though that's a whole nother debate for a different video, because the concept of the Shadow Realm and eternal suffering is almost worse than the concept of death itself. But we understand why changes like that were made. When Pegasus is getting the eye shoved into the socket and they remove the blood, we understand why that censorship happens. When localization changes are made and food changes to more American and Western food like hamburgers, we understand why those changes are made. But this is a decision that I really cannot think of any legitimate reason as to why it was made. And it's something that I definitely do want to discuss with you guys, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, because I know there are a good amount of people that don't even know this is a thing. And based on the thumbnail, you already know what I'm going to talk about. And that's the fact that Yugimoto has a mother. And Yugimoto's mother not only appeared pretty prevalently, well, prevalently is actually not the right word. She appeared moderately in the original manga. That might even be too generous of a word. I actually don't even think she had more than like a few panels. And she also appeared in the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters subbed. But she also appeared in the English dub, although the scene where she speaks is the scene that we're going to be focusing on, and it's the scene that gets removed from the English dub for a reason that I cannot comprehend. So before we get into that, let's begin with her debut, and this was a mutual debut, whether you're watching the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the English dub. She's in this scene. Yugimoto has defeated Pegasus. This is right after Yami Bakura has taken the Millennium Eye from Pegasus. They are leaving Duelist Kingdom, and they visit the hospital where Grandpa Moto, Solomon Moto, is recovering from, and Yugi sees his grandpa, and next to his grandfather is a woman. And unless you pay very fine attention to detail, even if you do pay fine attention to detail, you probably have no idea who this woman is, especially if you've only watched the English dub or really the anime at all and don't know anything about the manga. You might even assume that this woman is Grandpa's nurse. That's actually probably more believable than thinking, oh, there's Yugi's mom in episode 41, who has not been mentioned or introduced to us at all until this point. But that is Yugi's mother. So Yugi's mother appears in the English dub, doesn't say anything, and she's in just 2 quick shots, and in the Japanese version of the anime. Now, the main moment that gets censored, and not only gets censored, by the way, in the English dub, I've talked about different scenes and different topics that have been censored in the Japanese version, in the original version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, where they were basing it off of the manga, and the writer said, yeah, you know what, this is a little too intense for the manga, even we're not going to include this in. I think I have a video, 10 times the manga was too dark for the anime. So censorship does happen between the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga and the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then more censorship to the English dub. So it really just is a train, especially when looking back at the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Duel Monsters is the only one that is based off of the manga. So in the manga, right before Yugimoto goes on his date with Anzu, I'm sure we can all remember this, Yugi and Taya go on the date. Taya is torn between which version of Yugi she actually likes. Yugi is playing a game, and this is exclusive in the manga, where he's matching up the icons on socks, and he tells his mom that, it's going to help him with his sixth sense and yada yada yada, and his mom ends up smacking him over the head with a ladle, a wooden spoon, and says you should be focusing more on schoolwork. So his mom was actually a pretty strict woman. This was completely censored in the anime on both versions. I'm not sure why it was censored in the Japanese version. It could have just been they didn't want to give her that much of a role, or they didn't maybe want to show a mom hitting a son. I don't really know the reason for it, but whatever. That was changed, and so her whole personality in the anime was a little different than it was in the manga, but we still do see her in the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. Yugi is talking to himself. His mom comes into the room. Actually, I'm just going to play the scene for you right now.
今誰かと話してなかった？
別に行ってきます。
俺の睨んだとこじゃあんたはお前に惚れてるぜ。
もうからかわないでよ。
ユギ？あの子大丈夫かしら？
何がじゃ？
最近やけに独り言が多いのよね。
あの年頃にはいろいろあるものじゃ。わしだってそうじゃった。
だから心配なんだけど。
なの
So that scene occurs in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, and that scene is completely removed in the English dub for God knows what reasons. And I'm going to go back to my previous point. We understand why guns were removed. We understand why blood and violent scenes and actions were removed. This is something that I genuinely feel is just the most bizarre censorship in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I feel like introducing his mom in this way does absolutely no harm. It answers the question that a lot of viewers have, as in, where are Yugi's parents? Who are Yugi's parents? If you give us this scene, we can at least say, oh, so Yugi's mom does live at home. Okay, that's fine. Again, I don't understand the reasoning for cutting it. And for those of you wondering about Yugi's dad, Kazuki Takahashi actually spoke about Yugi's father. And he said in an interview, I believe this interview was 2010, so it was almost a decade ago, he said that Yugi's father is always away on business, and he's busy with business things, and so that's why he's never home. That's why I don't believe Yugi's dad is in the manga at all, and I don't believe his dad is in the anime at all. Actually, I'm 99.9% sure he's not in the anime at all. So Yugi's parents do exist. There's a lot of people out there that still believe Yugi doesn't have parents, or that his grandfather takes care of him. Maybe his parents went missing. But according to the manga and according to the anime, Yugi's mom lives at home with him. So that was something that was very wildly and bizarrely removed and censored from the English dub, and it's something that I've never quite understood the reasoning for, and this is a video that I've wanted to make for really like a year and a half, 2 years now, ever since I went back and reread the manga and remembered just how prevalent Yugi's mom was in the manga compared to the anime. Again, she wasn't really in the manga all that much, but she had a little more personality, she had a little more flavor to her, and she existed. And if you only watch the English dub, you probably look back at that episode 41 scene and say, oh, that was Grandpa Moto's nurse. You know, why are you going to assume that woman is Yugi's mom? But Yugi's mom was in the English dub, and then the scene where she gets kind of introduced as the mom, they decide to remove. So it's really bizarre, and maybe I'll do a video like this for all the Yu-Gi-Ohs and just kind of hyper-focus in on one censorship that to me makes absolutely no sense. If I had to think of a reason as to why they would cut it, maybe they just felt it wasn't important to the story. I mean, to be fair, in the anime, Yugi's mom really doesn't have any role in the story. In the Japanese version, she does not appear after this, and again, I believe this is episode 50 where she has the speaking role, and so maybe the people working over at 4Kids at the time just said, let's not even include her, let's not even bring up his mom, and let's, I guess, leave the viewers wondering where his parents are. I don't know, I feel like it would have been less bad to just have her show up in that scene, because now you have probably a lot of kids watching assuming that his parents are not at the house or are dead. And I don't know, I feel like, kind of like the Shadow Realm, it does more harm than good if the reason for censoring her and removing her from the show was to make the show more kid-friendly. It doesn't make any sense to me, but this is something that I really, really want to hear from all of you. And for those of you that are learning this for the first time, please let me know. And let me know what your reaction was when you did learn that Yugi had a mom, had a dad, and that his mom actually appeared in the anime and in the manga. It really is fascinating stuff. And again, any theories you have as to why you think she may have been removed, please let me know down below. And let me know if you think this is the most bizarre censorship in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or maybe just Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, and let me know some other really weird censorships that you've never been able to quite figure out. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, James Rose, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Vincent Van Der Veen, Panther J, Smith620, Jorge Leon, and Blue Maiden 28, and to my Diamond tier patrons Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, Sean, and Melinda Phantom, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons Joss Rivers and Syn Cloud. Thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon and who is a channel member. I cannot tell you how much you truly help me out. And thank you to everyone who just watches these videos, because without you guys, I would not be able to do this. I will talk to you all down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.